enterprise fund.
Mr. Chair?
Just like the Hillview is, should be run as a business. We should
Have them all
some
resubmit.
specialties on that commission.
Mr. Yule.
If I may. I concur with you, Mike and Sean, that the Water Commission had issues with quorum, and that they can use some more expertise. There's no doubt about that. Problems that they had with having a quorum were not restricted to someone being in Florida. There were people here, present, that weren't able to make the meeting because they have job conflicts and so on. And so it wasn't, you can't say it was Florida or vacation. Really had nothing to do. That was one of the issues. At one point, there were only 3 members to the commission, and so I built up the commission. I was looking for certain qualified people. We have what we have, and we work with what we have. That's what pretty much government is all about. We'd like to have all of the experts, but they don't always volunteer. So when we think about a committee, any committee, I've observed in many of the committees that I've gone to that there are issues about following policy, because not everybody knows it. In fact, most people don't. But everybody does the best that they can. So we need to understand, yes, it's a good idea to review our committees, because it goes from the top down. As bad as a committee may be, it's really determined by us about how good it's going to be. So we are probably the most responsible about the success and the quality of a committee. So it really starts with us. The concern that I have, and we don't, I think the volunteerism in the community is not where we would like it to be. We'd like it to be much better. But when we're here and we be critical of who's on these committees, people that we have selected, whether it be this board or another board, it's very hard for people to be willing to come forward and put their time aside, like some have, but not enough have, and be criticized for it. So we have to be careful. I think that, let me finish, please. I think that it's important that the committees, we look at our committees, not just one. We probably should look at all of our committees and see how they're doing and how they're functioning, and make sure that we're getting out of the committees that we should be getting. So, you know, in going forward, I think it's a good idea. I think any commission or committee needs to be evaluated by this board. So, thank you.
Well, I'm going to say this. There is a difference between the Hillview enterprise and the water enterprise, and that difference is that we have a DPW director and we have a department head for water. It's a town function. In the Hillview, we have a volunteer commission. It's a commission, not even a committee, that manages the golf course. They have direct involvement with the operations of it. DPW director and the department head for water have direct responsibility for the water, not the water commission. The water commission, I believe, is more of an advisory board looking at, you know, the trends and where things go and make recommendations to us. It's a little different. I think we've wasted much too much time on this. I think this report flags a few issues that need to be addressed. It's too bad we didn't get all this information in a timely manner before we set the rates, but I don't think it would change a damn thing. And you know, if we end up that we've made a mistake in the rates and we're collecting more money than we had anticipated, that'll be a good thing, and we can sit here in November when we're supposed to be reviewing the water rates and adjust them
It's impossible,
accordingly. Why is it impossible?
because all we did was incentivize people to go out and put wells in. I know 15, 20 people that are putting wells in right now because of what this board did. And it's only gonna get worse. Well,
Sorry about that.
go around the community and ask some people, Bob.
Well, I
Talk
mean,
to
some people may have put wells in because they're big water users and they're watering the lawns, you know.
It's a naive statement, Bob. It's because of what this board approved. Why wouldn't you put a well in at this point? It's a hell of a lot cheaper than
Might
what
be a
we're
bad
throwing out of here.
investment, because sooner or later, the DEP is gonna restrict them too. But that's a discussion for another night. I'd like to move on. We've still got a number of items on.
Well, I'd like us to finish the conversation about the water commission. I mean, does this board think that the water commission we have in place, do you have the confidence in for next year, we go through this? If not, then we should tonight disband it, or just have them,
I don't
or
think
pull the cards and have them resubmit.
Want to put it on an agenda for our next meeting? Fine.
I think it should be on the agenda for next meeting. I
Fine.
think, Jeff, I don't disagree with you
By
in
the way,
terms
our
of,
next meeting, it won't be on the agenda because it's town meeting, but
Yeah, the fall.
the next full meeting.
I just want to, briefly, I know we want to move on. I was getting late. Jeff, I do agree with you, all boards and committees should be looked at, but the spotlight right now is on the water commission. I think that regardless of what your reason is why you can't attend meetings, I appreciate your willingness to volunteer, but if you can't attend meetings, you can't participate, and you can't take an active role, you should not be sitting as a member of any board or of any committee. That's my opinion. And Bob, I just disagree in terms of, I'm looking at what the purpose of the water commission is. It's far more than just recommending a water rate. They're to adopt a capital plan, adopt an annual operating budget. This is according to the town bylaw, and there's other provisions in there. So it goes far broader than just recommending rate changes. So I think there needs to be expertise on this commission. That's my opinion, so that's why I'd be looking to try to address it at our meeting after town meeting.
I don't disagree with you in terms of the appointments, but, you know, I think there's a way of dealing with it. We
Right.
make appointments every year, so. Are we set to move on now?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Mr. Belliconis, I think it's TA report.
Oh, goodness. Just an update, they would refer to the yellow sheet that was in your packet this evening. Reporting on the health insurance plan for August 1st, which is our renewal. There was a meeting that took place with the Insurance Advisory Committee meeting last week. It involved our health insurance consultant. The chairman was present at the meeting. During the meeting, there were a number of question and answers, a presentation that was made to the employees, union representatives, and retirees who were present. And the options that were presented to the committee are both the 0% increase. One plan has a 0.2% decrease. The second one has about a 0.9% decrease, which I think are pretty remarkable in the environment that we're in. Remember, we started off at 11% when we began our budget planning process. Our insurance carrier informed us that the rate renewal for August 1st would be in the range of 10 to 11%. So we've gone from 10 to 11% down to almost minus 1%. And each of those plans offer a number of what I call rich benefits to employees. It's interesting that when you look at the annual savings to employees, and this is just premium savings, it's about $157 a year per individual and $422 per year for a family plan. It's important to consider that as part of the town's effort to go to a more affordable health insurance plan, there's a significant savings to the employees. And those savings to employees are in the form of premium savings. Now, the town also achieves a premium savings. The town pays 70% of the health insurance policy, but the employees pick up 30%, so those are real dollar savings that the employees will be enjoying by us going to a more affordable plan. One of the other strategies that was presented to the employees at this meeting last week was also adding an FSA plan, or a flexible spending account. We don't presently have one in place. The cost of operating one of those plans is fairly modest, but it's something that we should do, And the reason why we should do it is we're asking employees to pick up additional out-of-pocket costs as a result of higher co-payments and co-payments. And so if you look at the additional savings to employees, the result is that employees should be able to save some money if they take advantage of the FSA plans that will be made available. So the committee members were charged with the responsibility of coming back and providing a recommendation no later than May 25th on which of the two plans that they support. They have a non-binding recommendation that comes to this board. However, they should keep in mind that none of the actions of the committee will impact the amount of the health insurance budget going into town meeting. We're still at a 2% increase, or $5,121,000. And regardless of the direction that the committee recommends, the course is straight that we need to proceed in terms of implementing these changes. So if there are any questions about health insurance, I'd be happy to address those right
I
now.
think you should just make a comment that part of that 2% increase is related to anticipated additional enrollment
Right.
and the cost of a health insurance plan, just for the record.
We don't control people that come onto our plan throughout the year. We go through open enrollment in June and July of every year. So people have an opportunity who don't participate in our plan to come on board. And throughout the year, there were those individuals and families who, because of loss of insurance or whatever the reasons, there's qualifying events under the law, they can come onto our plan at any time. So that's exactly what the 2% is for.
Mr. Prisco.
In previous meetings, I brought up the Section 125 plan, and I noticed it wasn't addressed during your meeting with these people, but I hope it is something that you guys would consider. I did bring some brochures for a little information. You can hand those
I
down,
thought
Bob.
you handed them out.
No, just to you. Yes, welcome. Take, Greg, I have you a whole CD on it
Thank
that
you,
you can give
Michael.
to Allison.
I
It's some more information.
appreciate your time on that.
As I told you before, I have gone through this at length. I think it is worthy of us doing it for our town employees. There is a cost associated with it, but there is a savings on the 70% piece. On the 30% piece of the employees, what they're getting charged. We will no longer pay 7.65% of the FICA tax. And from that savings, that will more than pay for the cost. Not FICA, food and SUDA, sorry. The food and the SUDA cost. Associate the payroll, the employer contributions to payroll for that piece, because it's non-taxable anymore, we're gonna save.
That amounts to 1%?
Yeah, 1.4%.
Yeah, 1.4%.
I will get you the exact percentage. I did have it all written up for you, but I left it in my office. But I don't believe that's the exact number. But the bottom line is, it shouldn't cost the town a penny. Talk to carriers that provide the premium-only plans. I would look into it a little bit more. But to me, I think it's a better deal for the employees, well, equally as good as the FSA, and less expensive. That's all I have.
The insurance consultant, are they familiar with this? I don't know if you asked them, Greg.
The term is Section 125 plans. This one is premium-only plans, same thing.
I'll be happy to look into it.
All right. I think it's worthy for the employees. I think it's worth looking into.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next, Greg?
Next is an update on events affecting the fire department. The board had asked me to look at the steps necessary for filling the position of firefighter. And presently, the department is at full staffing. The only vacancy that does exist is at the deputy chief level. I don't anticipate taking any action on the deputy chief or the firefighter positions until we have our next mediation session with the fire union, which is scheduled for May 31st.